Hello, everybody. I would like to thank you all for being here. Today, we are going to discuss the fight for autonomy and equality, which has to do with abortion access. So, without further ado, I'm going to share the first slide. So Roe v. Wade was overturned in 2022, which ended about 50 years of federal abortion practices. And almost immediately, most states banned abortions or put in extreme restrictions. So the change wasn't slow, it was a shock. And it's hitting some people a lot harder than others. So marginalized communities, especially low income women and people of color, are facing the worst impact. Many live in states with strictest bans and don't have the money or resources to travel for care. So this isn't just a political issue, it's a personal one. Roe's fall, it didn't stop abortions, it just made them harder and more dangerous to get. And today I'll talk about how these bans are harming people's health. I'm going to share real examples and discuss how we can fight back. So let's look at exactly what changed with Roe v. Wade. In 1973, Roe v. Wade was established, and that made abortion legal across the U.S. It allowed abortion up to fetal viability, which is about 24 weeks, and for nearly 50 years, this protection stood. But then on June 24th in 2022, the Supreme Court's decision overturned Roe, and suddenly states could set their own abortion laws with no federal limits. The response was immediate. Within months, 14 states had near total abortion bans, and others passed severe restrictions like banning abortion after 6 to 8 weeks when a lot of women don't even know that they're pregnant during that time. Entire regions, especially in the South and Midwest, lost access. Patients now have to travel hundreds and thousands of miles if they can travel at all. Many are being forced to continue pregnancies against their will, and these bans rarely make exceptions, even for rape, incest, or medical complications. So the result? Confusion, fear, and real harm to people's lives. Now, I think it's extremely important to talk about how these bans are creating legal battles across state lines. So, meet Dr. Margaret Carpenter, an OBGYN in New York. She prescribed abortion pills through telemedicine to a patient in Louisiana, a state that now bans abortions. But what happened next? Well, Louisiana indicted her on criminal charges, a doctor being charged in another state for providing care that's legal where she practices. This is the first case of a state trying to punish an out-of-state doctor for abortion care. And if it succeeds, it could stop doctors everywhere from providing telehealth abortions, even in legal states. Some states are fighting back, and after Dr. Carpenter's indictment, New York passed a shield law to protect doctors from out-of-state prosecution, and other states are doing the exact same, refusing to cooperate with abortion-related investigations from banned states. It's a legal tug of war, and while banned states are trying to punish providers while pro-choice states are building legal protections, meanwhile, patients are caught in the middle of this legal battle. Let's talk about the health impacts of Roe v. Wade. So that includes the mental and physical toll that this can take on the bodies. So first, let's clear up a myth. Does abortion harm a woman's health? No, absolutely not. The American Psychological Association and decades of research confirm that abortion does not increase depression, anxiety, or suicidal thoughts, and most women feel relief. The real mental health risk comes when someone is denied an abortion. So the Turnaway study found that women forced to continue pregnancies had higher stress, anxiety, and lower self-esteem, and some even developed trauma symptoms. Physically, carrying a pregnancy is far riskier than an abortion. Childbirth is 14 times more dangerous than a legal abortion, and pregnancy complications like high blood pressure or hemorrhaging, it can be life-threatening. And yet, in banned states, doctors often hesitate to act until a patient is near death, which is an absolute concern. So abortion bans also increase domestic violence risk. Studies show that women denied abortions are more likely to stay in abusive relationships, and many feel trapped with no way out. But there's a bottom line here. Abortion is healthcare. Denying it puts people's mental and physical health at a serious risk. But abortion bans don't just affect health. they also have major economic consequences. The Turnaway study found that women denied abortions faced much more financial instability than those who got them. Let's break it down. Imagine a young woman with an unplanned pregnancy. She knows she can't afford a child, and maybe she's in school or she's working a low wage job. If she can access an abortion, she's more likely to finish school and build financial stability. But if she's denied, she may have to drop out or cut back work. And the result? Medical bills, childcare costs, and long term income loss. On average, it takes 4 extra years for a woman denied an abortion to reach the same financial stability as those who got one. So that's completely alarming, and it should be alarming to people, the states, and the government, but it's not. And most women seeking abortions are already mothers trying to care for their kids. When they're denied, resources are stretched much thinner, so many struggle to afford rent, food, and baby supplies. Simply put, abortion bans push more families into poverty, and they take away control over a woman's future and make it harder for them to escape tough situations. Now, despite all of this, there is still hope, and let's talk about what's being done right now to protect reproductive rights. So first, there are state level protections. After Roe fell, states like California, Michigan, and Vermont passed laws guaranteeing abortion rights. Even in conservative Kansas, voters rejected an anti-abortion measure in 2022, and public opinion is clear. Most Americans do support abortion rights. And next, legal shield laws. So states like New York, Massachusetts, and Connecticut are protecting doctors and patients from prosecution. Some states are even funding travel and care for out of state patients. Abortion funds and support networks are also stepping up. So, nonprofits are raising money to help people travel, pay for procedures, and access to telehealth care. And finally, political action also matters. Congress has attempted to pass the Women's Health Protection Act, which would restore Roe's protections nationwide, but so far it hasn't passed. But elections, they can change that. Things in the future, they're all up for change, and we're still fighting. The takeaway, well, protecting reproductive rights takes work. Voting matters, advocacy matters, and supporting abortion funds and speaking up also matters. The fight, it's not over. Roe's fall was a major setback, but it also sparked a movement. And when people organize and push back, we can make a change happen. Here are the references that I used for this. And I just wanted to say thank you all for listening. Reproductive rights are human rights. This isn't just about laws, it's about people's real lives, health, and futures. If we stay informed, support those affected, and take action, we can rebuild and even strengthen the protections that we lost. The fight is far from over, and we all have a role to play. Thank you for listening.